Good afternoon, I'm Giovanni Dennis with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're joining us online at onespotmedia.com. Opposition Senator Lambert Brown is digging deeper into his resolve that jungle justice may have a role to play in Jamaican society to deal with certain categories of crimes. Senator Brown insists that despite his position as a lawmaker, he would be prepared to abandon the principles he's sworn to uphold by avenging certain acts. He made the controversial comments in the Senate on Friday. He says in the absence of the rule of law, he would be prepared to engage in jungle justice. This has drawn sharp reactions from some members of the public, but Senator Brown is unrelenting.
Of us in the society have been quiet. I am saying this and I repeat it. From my family, if my daughter is raped and the state doesn't deal with it, I believe I have a duty to honor the name of my family, and if it means I am going to go to the gallows, so be it. Somebody must stand up against the Dan who sent for the young girl. Somebody, and I am prepared to say that if it affected my family, I would stand up. I am not a wimp.
Senator Brown suggests there are others in the wider society who share his view.
If states fail to deal with them, they will continue to do it. And the choice we have is that somebody has to stand up for their family and the honor of their family. And I have long ago imagined that if I had to do that, I would do it.
To other news, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says it's not prudent to use the various vaccination blitz across the island to judge Jamaicans' willingness or lack thereof to taking the vaccine. The minister was responding to questions from journalists at a press conference Monday at the arrival of 55,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. He says so far they are seeing encouraging signs among the population to getting vaccinated.
Segments of the population, and including some vulnerable segments, 60 years and over, for example, there are still parts of that population that we would prefer to see provide more interest and come to support and take their vaccines. I think it's going to be important for all hands to be on deck, because sometimes it's a function of mobilizing those persons out to the communities, which is why we've got the members of parliament and councils and so on involved.
Minister Tufton says he, however, expects more hesitation as more vaccines become available. He concedes some social media campaigns suggesting vaccines are causing death are harmful to the vaccine program.
Step up the communication.
Health officials in Westmoreland are boasting about a significant reduction in COVID-19 statistics after being among the worst affected parishes 4 months ago. But despite the improvement, there is concern that doing fewer tests in recent weeks may be influencing the numbers. Herman Green reports.
Westmoreland has recorded over 1,800 COVID-19 cases. A spike last December significantly increased cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. But on Friday, the Parish Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Marcia Graham, announced improvements. Firstly, the positivity rate has fallen from 53.8% in March to 31.7% in April. Of note, however, fewer tests were done, from 250 per week then to 167 in the last week.
This is due to a number of factors. One, as we have been having less confirmed cases, and so the numbers of persons testing positive have gone down, and therefore we have a decrease in the number of close contacts of confirmed cases, because the less number of cases you have, then the less number of contacts you will have, and we test the close contacts for confirmed cases. Granted, we have had a few persons who have opted not to do the COVID test, but they still observe the 14-day quarantine.
In addition to the positivity rate, hospitalizations are down from over 100% of bed capacity last month to 41% now. The parish infection rate is now 1,230.2 per 100,000 population, putting it at 10th in the country. It's believed that efforts, including an ongoing information drive about the virus and protocols, and the long holiday weekend curfew, may have led to the reductions. Dr. Graham says testing will be ramped up this week Friday.
We are actually opening the doors of the Savannah Health Center for testing from 9 o'clock to 3 p.m., 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Anyone who wants to do a COVID-19 test can come to the Savannah Health Center and have same. Just one exception, this is not testing for travel purposes. So if persons want to do a COVID test to travel, this is not the forum for you, but we just want to have a better feel of what's happening in community. We are doing it on a Friday because a lot of the persons all over the parish come into Savannah on a Friday for shopping and other business reasons.
Persons seeking to be tested are urged to observe physical distancing and other protocols. Herman Green, TVJ News.
6 more Jamaicans have died from COVID-19. 2 are from Kingston and St. Andrew, and 1 each from St. Thomas, Hanover, St. Catherine, and St. Elizabeth. Their death now brings the death toll to 767. Meanwhile, Jamaica's COVID-19 case count has increased to 45,212. 67 cases were confirmed Monday from 455 samples. The Ministry of Health says the positivity rate is now 14%. The number of persons hospitalized with the respiratory illness is now 20. 30 are in critical condition. And that should be 220 persons are now hospitalized with the respiratory illness. And it's now time for a break here on the Midday News, but please stay with us. We'll have much more when we return. Welcome back. We're continuing the news. Years of promises to debush an area in Barracks River St. Mary to fix a roadway has gone unfulfilled. Residents are now calling for immediate action.
We don't like him to work on the road right now. We want some help on the road. The road need fix right now.
Forgotten is how residents of Barracks River Old Road in St. Mary have described how they feel having to traverse this pathway daily, debushing long overdue.
Right now, see there, a cow we have to tie and something near me down here can come through. Cow we have to tie, because when it grow up, you see nobody can come through. Nobody can come through. And when that guy a build road, he build half a road to cross road. 2 up and my cousin then dream me and you remember walk down here so in a woodland I call me for you 3 that call me for you have in so.
When we have a school open and stuff like that, the children them who's supposed to come through here if you get a taxi over there have to go all the way over there and pay an extra $100 which they cannot afford. Why? Because they cannot go through here. Because it's pure bush. It's pure bush. This is a farm to itself. Not even a farm look like this.
In another area along the roadway, residents say it's impassable when it rains.
You see all just on the rainfall. Yes. This is a swimming pool. You're going to need like a big ship to pass through.
When the river falls and the water is in spade, they had to get the taxi go way up to where the beginning of the road where you turn down, and then they have to walk it down.
Costing residents extra money to get home by public transport. But the question they have is who is responsible?
Everybody asks, they say they are not responsible, so the road has not been fixed. And so it's in this deplorable condition.
When TVJ News contacted Member of Parliament for Central St. Mary, Dr. Maurice Guy, we were referred to the Councillor for the Highgate Division, Paul Fife, who says efforts to get funding to fix the road was unsuccessful.
I would have sent the estimate twice to the Ministry of Local Government and no response. So the magnitude of repair cannot be done by the St. Mary Parish Council.
Kodian Barrett, TVJ News.
Normalcy has been restored in Yala St. Thomas after scores of pedestrians were left stranded Monday morning. TVJ News understands that about 7 o'clock, a team of police along with members of the Transport Authority conducted an operation in the town. This brought transportation to a halt, which left pedestrians stranded for hours.
Can't move from Yellow Bay from morning, can't get no taxi, no bus, nothing at all. Why? But can't go work, can't get no bus, no taxi, but me don't know what happened.
To News Overseas, attorneys for the family of Andrew Brown Jr. are calling his death an execution. Brown Jr., 42, was fatally shot last Wednesday when police officers attempted to serve him with an arrest warrant. More from the CNN.
Protesters spilling into the streets of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, Monday night.
This was an execution.
The family of Andrew Brown Jr. and their attorneys outraged, saying they were only shown a 20-second clip of body camera video from Brown's deadly encounter with sheriff's deputies.
We do not feel that we got transparency. Okay. We only saw a snippet of the video.
One of the family attorneys says from the video they saw, Brown wasn't a threat when sheriff's deputies attempted to serve him with an arrest warrant.
He was not reaching for anything. He wasn't touching anything. He wasn't throwing anything around. He had his hands firmly on the steering wheel. They run up to his vehicle shooting.
Brown's death certificate says he died as a result of a penetrating gunshot wound of the head.
Body cameras are shaky and sometimes hard to decipher. They only tell part of the story. Outside investigators, both from the SBI and from 4 other sheriff's offices, are interviewing witnesses and gathering more information.
The sheriff's office says the county attorney has filed a motion with the court to release the body camera video.
We will comply with the judge's order. Those people who claim the sheriff's office has the ability to release either don't know North Carolina law or they are trying to purposely inflame a tragic situation.
To news and sports, with the focus now firmly on the ISA Boys and Girls Athletics Championships, one local schoolboy cricket coach is worried that his sport is being left behind. Kirkland Bailey, the head coach of Excelsior High School, is concerned about the absence of competitive cricket locally.
On March 12, 2020, the Inter-Secondary School Sports Association, ISA, made the decision to suspend all competitions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Since then, there has been no cricket competition at the schoolboy level or otherwise in Jamaica. This is of great concern to head coach of Excelsior High School cricket team, Kirkland Bailey.
Players need time and games to develop. They need to be able to handle situations in real time to conquer them and to develop and build themselves as a complete player. And with the inactivity, it has hampered Jamaica's cricket, and by and large, I think the West Indies cricket greatly, because it is widely noted that when Jamaica does well, the West Indies tends to follow.
That concern is shared by national selector Junior Bennett, who says the real effect could be felt in the coming years.
We have the concern about it. It is 2 seasons now, no junior cricket, no under 14, under 16 headlock cup in the country. At the JCA level, that will have impacted also under 13, under 15, under 17, and under 19 program. We have absolutely no competitive cricket or training have taken place. So there's no developmental program over the last 2 seasons, and definitely going to impact our youth cricket, especially at the under 15 level. Because Jamaica Cricket Association 2 years ago ran an under 13 cricket competition, which was very successful. But since that time, those guys have not played any form of cricket since that, and definitely have a negative impact on our cricket. So definitely, it is something we have to be very, very concerned about.
There's also the fear that schoolboy cricket might not recover from the pandemic, given a developing trend over the last decade.
Cricket is quite expensive, and the numbers of the participating schools have been dwindling consistently over the years. And this will provide some school administrations another excuse where they can now filter out cricket out the program because it has already taken a 2-season break. But in a school like mine, where Excelsior is concerned, the cricket history is strong, so we will always play most likely. But there are some schools that will filter out and use this as an opportunity to take themselves away quietly.
Bennett, who is also a former national senior team coach, says this has not gone unnoticed by the JCA.
You don't have a youth program, like, for example, you don't have no competitive cricket at the under 19 level. It simply means you're going to have less players moving up to the senior team level. So I think we have to react to it. The concern have been raised with the Jamaica Cricket Association, and they are looking into starting an under 23 program. And I believe that would definitely bridge a gap between the senior team and the under 19 team.
It's believed that ISA had explored playing a T20 competition as a means of getting players active.
And in football, reggae boy Javain Brown has been granted his work permit and visa to represent the Vancouver Whitecaps in Major League Soccer. The 22-year-old defender missed the Whitecaps' opening game of the season due to not having the work permit to play. After being drafted by the Whitecaps in January, Brown signed a 4-year deal with the Canadian franchise until the end of 2024. The Whitecaps are currently 5th in the Western Conference standings. Brown was one of 2 Jamaicans drafted to Major League Soccer this season alongside Justin McMaster. McMaster is with Minnesota United. And that's the Midday News. I'm Giovanni Dennis. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.